What's up, everybody? Well, I got another Steam Deck gameplay video for you guys today, and today we're going to check out Demonologist. Now, this is an early access game, so it might not run the best, but I saw it was like on sale for like $14.99, usually 26 bucks, so I was like, fuck it. This seems like it'd probably be a pretty good game. Now, I don't know how it's gonna run on the Steam Deck, cause, well, probably not gonna run well, cause I don't think it meets the minimum requirements. It wanted a 1050 Ti, and I don't think this thing's quite a 1050 Ti yet. I think it's still a little bit below. It's only, what, a 1.8 teraflop unit, just like the PS4 was, pretty much. So, I don't know if that's gonna be able to run it. However, we're only trying to run it at 720p as well, so maybe. But, only one way to find out. Let's go hook this guy up to the capture computer and hop into the game. Then after that, we'll do 1080p 1440 on the laptop. And then if the game supports ultra-wide, we'll do the secondary computer and then finish off in the main computer. So, let's go get started, shall we? Well, alright guys, starting out our demonology, or demonologist gameplay here. We're gonna try to just max the game out. Honestly, it's probably gonna go very poorly, as it usually does when we try to do things like that on the Steam Deck. Now, I'm gonna leave the field of view alone, and we'll do FSR at the end. But we'll leave the field of view at 90, because we'll just make it way harder to run if you max that out. But there you go, everything's on high. The only thing I turned off was motion blur, because that does not really affect performance at all. I just don't like that garbage. But now, let's go ahead and hop into the game now, shall we? Well, here we go. We're at the very beginning of the game. Now, I'm not going to lie, I haven't the slightest idea what in the hell I'm doing in this game, or what it's even really about. It just kind of looked like a spooky game. So I was like, ah, fuck it. We'll try that out. It seemed like a pretty short game, too, but who cares? It was like under $15, I think. Or right at 15. Something like that. But unfortunately, this is one of those really, really dark games, so it's kind of hard to see anything. But, I mean, that is kind of the point of a spooky, scary ghost game. Hey, we got skulls. Skulls and candles. Fuck yeah, let's do this. What else do we got in here? Although, this was not very scary for me since I had no sound, and I mean, sound is about at least 50%, probably more, to a scary kind of video game, you know? I'm actually surprised in certain spots we're even getting over 60 FPS at high. I'm kind of impressed. Now, when we're out here in the outside, and especially over here at the home base, we do drop into the 50s, but I'm impressed. I thought we were going to be at, like, in the teens or something. That's generally what happens when you try to max out games on the Steam Deck, at least with newer games, though I technically don't know when this came out, but it was early access, so it must not be too old. I don't think early access games stay early access for, like, 5 years, generally. I'm sure there's some outliers out there that people will correct me on, but generally that's not what happens. So what do these things all do, I wonder? This thing looks like one of those talking devices that lets the spirits talk to you or whatever. This thing, no idea. This looks like that thing looked like a freaking pocket watch, and then this thing, I have no idea. Never even seen one of these before in any kind of show, movie, or anything. So this one's completely random to me. I was going to try to think of a fun pun, but couldn't think of one, so I choked. Unfortunately, it's so dark I can't, like, see anything. I hit all the buttons and... Okay, now we're going to drop everything down to medium. Still leaving the field of view alone, but as you can see, we put everything down to medium, and motion blur is still off, because I just don't like motion blur. I don't like anything that gets in the way of my vision in a game. But, anyway, now let's get back into the game and see how it runs now. Alright, here we are, medium settings now. Honestly, we still get about the same dropped frames in there. We're down to about 52. So this might be one of those games that's just, it's too CPU bottlenecked or something, maybe, to really get us any differences in FPS for the most part. But we'll really be able to tell if that's the case once we start doing FSR then. So we'll have to wait till then. But I mean, the GPU is working at 100. It's not stuck at like 100 or 800 megahertz either. We're at least over a gigahertz on the GPU, but it is using quite a bit of the CPU. All those cores are pretty loaded up, and they're boosting quite high. It seems like mostly right at around the 3 gigahertz mark. Now, when a game is super CPU bottlenecked, what it usually will do is go up to like the full I think it's 3.4 or something, or 3.2 gigahertz boost, And then your GPU sits there and goes, well, now I don't have any power left, so I'm just going to sit at like 600, 700 megahertz. That's what keeps happening in Gotham Knights, for example. I know that game's coded like crap in the first place, but that's what happens in that game. That's why you can't get playable frame rates on the Steam Deck. At least you couldn't. Maybe you can now, but I kind of made like 4 videos on that damn game, so I didn't want to do any more on that unless I saw like some video or some article that's like, hey, we finally fixed Gotham Knights. Then of course I would go back and make a video. But when you already made 3 or 4 videos on something, it's a little lame to just keep going back and being like, all right, we're just going to do the same game again. We're just going to do the same game again, but this time they had a driver update. But I still do that with some games. Like, I just saw The Last of Us had a 14 gig update yesterday. And also, on my laptop, they had a driver update that is supposed to improve performance yet again for that game. So, I will probably redo that game, at least on the Asus G15 Advantage, but I'll probably do it on the desktops too. But Steam Deck, no. Not unless it gets a verification. Or at least a playable badge or something. Because that was just a total shit show. You had to put everything on low, and it did not run very good. Dropping down into the teens in the very beginning of the game with all the fire and people running from all the zombies in the beginning. Not a good experience, at least in my opinion. Anyway, though, here we are back at our home base here. Unfortunately, this game's so dark, I don't know where the hell to go yet. Hopefully, I'll figure that out. But anyway, let's move on to low. Well, now, we're on low. So, same field of view, but everything else on low. And motion blur still off, because just don't like it. And it doesn't really affect performance in any meaningful way anyway. So, now we've reached the bottom. Now let's go see how low does. And I have a sneaking suspicion it's probably going to be about the same as high and medium. But it'll only take a second to find out here. Here we are, back at home base here. So let's just try to run down our pathway, our dark, barely lit path. Wish I could see more in this game, or at least there was like a flashlight or something. I was trying to say something in the beginning of the game and then completely got to the end of my recording and had to just get cut off, but I don't have any flashlights to my knowledge. I've hit all the buttons. I mean, there's a little light in here. There's some chains and stuff. It looks like there's a door here. But how do you open it? I hit A and it didn't open it. Maybe A's not the right button? Man, though, a lot of that textures just do not look very good. I looked at the rocks back there and man, it looked like we were playing an Xbox 360 game. And we're not really getting that much better FPS like I thought. We're still getting about the same 50 when we're in this frickin' place. Went up a little, though. We're staying in the 60s actually now, so low actually did help. Oh, wait, nope. We're down to the same 52 once we turned around, so no, it is the exact same. Ha, interesting. So no matter what graphics setting you play, it pretty much gets about the same FPS, so you might as well just crank the shit and then lock the FPS to 40 or 30 or something like that. Which I do try later on during my camera gameplay. Though I found it still a little stuttery, even when you lock the FPS. 30 FPS fooled me for a while, thinking, oh man, this is pretty smooth for 30, as smooth as 30 can be anyway. But then it started like getting some stutters and stuff. I was like, ah, damn. I thought I had it, but nope. Still doesn't make the game unplayable or anything. And it is early access and all, and does not say it's playable on the Steam Deck, so I can't really hate on it too much. The fact that it's running this good is actually pretty good, at least in my opinion. Detect the ghost. I'm at 92% of mental health, I guess. Anyway, though, let's go ahead and move on to some FSR testing now. So now we're going to try the game out with some FSR, and this is FSR 2.1. So we're going to start on quality and work our way down. And we're just going to max the game out, because that's generally how one would want to use FSR. But anyhow, let us now go hop on into the game and see how FSR works out. It probably will be the same 52 FPS it's been the whole time, but hey, let's go find out. All right, here we are with FSR 2.1 on quality. And no, we actually dropped more FPS now. We're down into the 40s now, so FSR definitely makes things worse. So I would not recommend using that shit in this game. Just max the game out and limit the FPS. Or leave it unrestricted if you don't care about, you know, battery life or a little bit of frames going all over the place. That's what's cool about the Steam Deck. You have all these options. You can do whatever you want to do. It's not just, hey, you can only do this. That's it. You get 3 options. That's it. So that's at least nice. That, and I think it's cool to have something as powerful as a PS4 in the palm of your hand. Now, it's not quite as powerful as the PS4's GPU, but unfortunately, the PS4 GPU is connected to a crappy APU called the Jaguar, and that thing held that thing way back, so the Steam Deck is arguably way faster than a PS4. Because its CPU isn't complete garbage. Not like the Jaguar, anyway. But now, let's move on. Alright, now for FSR 2.1 Balanced. So, still have the game maxed out on the exact same settings we had it on before. So, now let's go, I guess, and see how low the FPS will get. Because I have a feeling the lower we go with this, we're probably going to keep getting lower and lower FPS, at least in this beginning area. Now, this is FSR 2.1 Balanced now, so let's run around again. And yeah, even in this spot, I think we're like getting way less FPS. We're getting like less FPS all around. I think that does just make the CPU bottleneck or something. Because yeah, now we're getting way less GPU megahertz than we were before. So it is totally forcing the CPU to work hard. But that's how it works. You lower the resolution and your CPU works harder than your GPU. That's just how computers work. That's why people test games, like test CPUs with low settings on 1080p or 720p. I know a lot of people are like, nobody with a 7800X3D or a 13900K is ever going to be playing at 1080p. And for the most part, they're probably right. I'm sure there's some outliers out there that like the esports and stuff, but most often than not, that's not the case. But that's why I like to just test things the way most people are just generally going to play. So I play at 4K on my main computer, 1080p on my laptop, though I do 1440 for the people that have that too. Anyway, well, now down to FSR 2.1, and we're going to do performance mode with everything still on high. So now this is going to look pretty freaking horrible. Though we still have one more to do after this, too. That's going to look like probably like a PlayStation 2 game. Anyway, though, let's go find out how it runs. All right. Now we got some FSR 2.1 performance. And yeah, definitely looks pretty soft and pretty aliased. From what I can see, as I've said before a million times, you can't see too much in this game. It's a really fucking dark, scary kind of game, so it kind of makes getting footage hard, especially because I don't know how to get into that damn door. Now, if I remember correctly, I think when I got to the Asus G15 Advantage videos, I figured out how to get the hell in there. Or possibly during the camera recorded gameplay of the Steam Deck, but I'm pretty sure it was in the Asus G15 Advantage videos, so I know some people are going to be like, oh man, this is bullshit. All he's doing is walking around in like the same spot. This is stupid. Well, I'd walk around more, but unfortunately I can't seem to figure out where to go because I can't see anything. There's no flashlights or anything as far as I can tell. Now, I did seem to find this guy's car. It's got like an old Chevy Impala or something like that. That's what the taillights remind me of anyway. There's not too many cars I know of that have taillights like that. Anyway, though, let's move on to the last FSR setting now. All right, FSR 2.1 Ultra Performance Mode now. Everything else is exactly the same, still same field of view, everything is on high, motion blur is still off. So, now that we've reached the bottom of all that and given you guys a couple seconds to look at all the settings, let's go back into the game and see how horrible this looks. All right. Let's go get some FSR 2.1 Ultra Performance gameplay in now, and yeah, definitely doesn't look great. It doesn't look as bad as I thought it was going to, though, but it's kind of hard to really see. And now you can also see something else on this couch. We get that shimmering. A lot of upscaling programs have shimmering problems. I think it's more of an FSR shimmering problem. I think, from what my experience is, DLSS tends to ghost a lot. I noticed it when I was playing Cyberpunk, and it was so bad that I was like, okay, fuck ray tracing. As much as I love ray tracing, I'm not going to sit here and turn my shit down to under 4K just to play this game. So I ran it native with no ray tracing, and it was great with the 4090, but kind of stupid that you can't turn ray tracing on a $1,600 GPU, you know? That thing should be able to max everything out flawlessly as far as I'm concerned. But hey, it is what it is. It's still a great GPU. I'm glad I bought it, but I was really hoping it would be able to max all games out for at least a little while. Anyway, though, let's move on to my settings now. Well, alright, here's the settings I would go with. We turned FSR right the hell off, because that just made things worse. We don't need much anti-aliasing, we don't need to have the highest view distance in the world, but I figured, and left the shadows on low, because F shadows, though. It's probably still going to be limited to about the same 52 and the tent and everything, but I just wanted to see if I could get rid of that, you know, and get us over it. But we'll have to wait and see. But let's go and jump into the game and find out. Well, alright. Now we've got some of my settings here. So let's just run around and see what's what. I think this is a pretty good medium. I see why it was shimmering, because the light of the moon or lights or whatever was shining on the couch. And FSR doesn't tend to do that too well. Alright, I'm hitting a bunch of buttons here. It's still not opening. Damn it. I was hoping I could get in. I wanted to go in the house. What the heck button makes that open? Now I guess we can go check out the car a little bit. There's some weird shit in the trunk, but can't really make use of it. And you can, like, get in the car, but I have a feeling that probably just, like, leaves and aborts mission or some shit like that. Just a guess. No idea for sure. Nope, same 52, 53. So no matter what, you're going to drop down. You're not going to be able to get 60 the whole time in this game. So that's why when I moved over to the other, like, camera recorded shit, I limited it to 40 and then tried 30 as well. But I'm actually surprised with how well this game actually runs, considering it's not supported and it seems to be under the minimum requirements. Unless I'm mistaking the 1050 Ti's performance, but I swear that thing was a lot more than what the Steam Deck could do. But who knows? Anyway, though, now why don't we go ahead and move on to some camera gameplay now. Well, alright, guys. Let's get a little camera recorded gameplay now. And since we couldn't quite hit 60 all the time, we were pretty close. But since it still drops, me personally, I'd rather just put it on 40, get a little bit better battery life. But let's just run around a little bit here. Now, I'm not going to lie, I couldn't really see anything on my capture computer. But I feel like this is the kind of game where you legit can't see anything. And it still drops frames from time to time. Down to 39 and whatnot, even though we're not maxing the GPU out, so that's just how it is. And then, yeah, I don't know how the hell to get into places. I tried. Oh, did I get in? No, darn. Well, alright, we can still just walk around a little bit, but not the smoothest game at 40. Wanted to try 40. I wonder if it would be smooth if we put it at 30. And if it wouldn't drop frames like that. Or did it just do that because no, it just does this from time to time, see? You get into a place like this and frame times just go fucking wacko. Mind you though, this thing I don't think was minimum requirements, so the fact that we're able to even get 30 or 40 FPS is pretty good. Now I wonder if we limit it to 30 if it would do that. Because we're still dropping down under 40 to 30s and stuff, even though we didn't before when we had it unlocked. So it makes me think there's some other issue going on. It does seem pretty CPU intensive. I mean, look at those cores. So maybe I was too overzealous with the 40 FPS. Well, screw it. Let's go do this live real quick. Now let's put it at 30 and see if it still does that. Because if it still does that garbage, even at 30 FPS, then we'll know it's just the game. And no matter what you do, it's going to do random stuff like that. Alright, a tiny little stutter there. Okay, so far it's seeming like 30 is better for frame times anyway. Definitely lower FPS, but it seems to be making our frame time smoother. Because we weren't dropping under 30 at all, though I didn't see us dropping under 40 at all either, so I don't know why it was doing that, but it is what it is. You saw it, it was doing it, so I'd say 30 is probably the way to go. If you want pure smoothness in the frame times anyway, and this doesn't seem to be a very fast-paced game. You get better battery life like this too. I mean, shit. Just going through all the settings, I started out at 100% battery pretty much, and we're already down to 53. Just getting the footage for this game. So you're probably looking at, if you play it unrestricted with my settings, you're probably looking at like hour 20 minutes, hour 40 minutes tops. But if you do it at 30 FPS here, you might be able to make it 2 hours and some change, like 2 hours and 20 minutes or something, which is still not the best battery life in the entire world, but still. Yeah, this thing doesn't get the best battery life for AAA titles or like high graphic AA titles, but if you're just playing indies or older like Xbox 360 era, PS3 era games, like Prototype and all of those, then you can get like 3-4 hours sometimes. Hell, on some emulation, you can get 5 hours. Because it's even easier to run that than it is to run YouTube videos and whatnot. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, sorry I'm not doing like anything in the game. I don't really know what the fuck I'm doing. I don't even know how to like go anywhere in this game, unfortunately. I've been kind of wandering around here. I mean, now that I've got sound, I really still don't know what the hell I'm supposed to be doing. I had no sound at the beginning of the game. They might have been explaining to me the whole time, oh yeah, just do this, that, and the other thing, and you can just go right in the house. But I had no idea, couldn't hear a thing. Until now. There's our car over here, or someone's car. No, I don't want to leave. So that's just if you want to quit and abandoned. Okay, so this is our car. At least that answers my question on whose car it is. Whoops. Nope, we still drop down to 28s and stuff, so it still does that shit. Depending on what you're doing and how you're moving the mouse around and whatnot. So yeah, pick your poison, no matter what. Whether you do 40 or 30, I guess it does that. I was starting to think 30 was going to be more smooth for the frame times. But as you saw, we left the car and started looking towards this house, and we dropped under 30. So yeah, no matter what, this game just doesn't run very good on the Steam Deck as far as smoothness. But you can at least get 30, 40 FPS. It's just not going to be the smoothest experience. But definitely still playable. I wouldn't enjoy it very much, but hey. If this is your only gaming way to game for PC, I would still say it's more than playable. So, why don't we go and wrap this video on up now? Well, alright guys, that is a wrap for Demonology on the Steam Deck. And while it's playable, it definitely has some stutters. No matter what you do, if you lock it to 40, even though we weren't dropping under 40, like at all, we got down like 47 was like the minimum I saw. But even when we limited it to 40, we were dropping frames and it was stutter city. Thought I had something when I locked it to 30 for frame times, but nope. I went over to the car and looked back at the house and boom, we were dropping down to 29. It was doing the same weird stutter crap. So I think that one still needs some more work. But in its defense, it's early access. access, and it never said it worked on the Steam Deck. So at least it turned on and it was playable. Just not the smoothest, funnest experience, but I'd still say it's more than playable. A game like that, a little stutter like that, does not annoy me that much. I still would probably rather play it on something a little more powerful, but if this was my only mode of gaming and I really wanted to play that game, I could play that game on here, no problem. But in any case, that is all we got for this particular video on the Steam Deck. So now it's time to go do the same game on the laptop and on the two desktops. That is if it does ultra wide. If it doesn't do ultra wide, we'll just skip the secondary and go right to the primary. But anyway, that is all I got for you guys for this particular video. I sure hope you guys enjoyed watching it, because I sure as hell enjoyed making it for you guys. And until the next video, peace out, guys.